All right, people. What's going on with y'all today? Go skip the intro. You know what I mean? Because we have some special guests in the building. Um, we're gonna let these fine gentlemen give you guys the latest and greatest on something that a lot of people may not be aware of. You guys know I covered this first when the news hit. I want to say a couple of months ago about the company Uncle Nearest. They're going through some things right now, but now we're gonna talk to the hopefully potential future owners of Uncle Nearest or in the process. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I can't complain. We got Mr. Miles and we got Mr. Solomon. Mr.
Doing
Solomon,
well.
how you doing, sir?
Doing well. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Indeed,
Thank
indeed.
you for having us.
Not a problem. So if you brothers could just go ahead and give yourself a quick introduction of yourselves or whatnot, we're having we'll get into it.
Well, my name is Walter Miles, and I am this current COO of Next Gen 2780, and I'm pretty much handling all of the operations of this company. I have a degree in psychology from Morehouse College. I also have an MBA with a concentration in finance from Clark Atlanta University. And I'm just looking forward to making sure that we do the necessary things to keep the Black community uplifted with this business.
Indeed. Mr. Solomon, how you doing, sir? How about yourself?
Doing well. I'm doing well. I'm Solomon R.C. Ali. Hey, I'm just happy to be here. I've done a lot of great things in the past. I think this is going to be one of the greatest things I do because it directly and will directly impact our people in our community. So I'm really excited to be a part of Walter's team and um, getting this done.
Okay, great. Now, you guys are in the process of acquisitioning the Uncle Nearest whiskey brand, correct?
Yes.
And just for context, nothing to do with you guys. Uncle Nearest was something that was pretty much an extension of, I think it was Jack Daniels, right? Jack Daniels Corporation.
It wasn't quite an extension. What the story behind it is that Jack Daniels learned how to distill whiskey
From Uncle Nearest.
Nathan Nearest Green, who was a
Uh,
slave on the Dan Call farm in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
and I'm saying they were the business started with, I think, some sort of affiliation though with Jack Daniels though.
The only affiliation that we know of is that there are family members of Nearest Green that works for Jack Daniels.
Okay, I got you.
And so yeah, but as far as like a break off, there is no known evidence of a break off that I know of.
All right, cool. Okay, so basically they came into some financial, we'll say, troubles or questioning as of late, and it had to get turned over to the receivership. Pretty much, certain things were going on financially that weren't matching up. And again, this isn't for you guys. This is for context. Of course, these are not the pending owners, but these are the previous owners, right? And the reason why these young gentlemen have a opportunity to take over is due to pretty much questionings in the valuation of the company and the business dealings of the company. So the young lady, and I think this came to light when she had a social media thing or whatnot, what have you, in a meetup, you know, and people started get a little bit more information into the company because we hadn't heard anything about it of note, since the launching. And now, the news has hit the public in general that they're under receivership and it's an opportunity for them to be bought. So, if you guys could tell us your part of the process after the fact of that, when did you guys become, knowledgeable of the availability? What made you, take interest in wanting to take this over? And we can go from there.
Well, I would say just like the rest of America, we became knowledgeable of what was going on. What back in August, July, August, when the news broke. Okay, and just to put this into context, okay, what the current founder and owner has done has been nothing short of amazing with this company. So she deserves all the flowers in the world because she basically took a story of a slave that only people in Tennessee knew, and she gave it to black people, and she brought it to the world. So definitely she should be lauded for that. She should be given her flowers for that, and she's done an amazing job. And so obviously, what's in the news is in the news about the company. And so what we decided to do is we was like, well, this company, we want to do all that we can to keep this company in the black community, as a part of the black community, because we understand how receiverships work. We understand what would happen with the company if they were to go in and split everything up and sell it all different parts. And we're just trying to do our part to make sure that doesn't happen.
And this is the owner and founder, Miss Weaver, correct?
Fawn Weaver, right?
Yes.
It's Fawn Weaver. There you go. Cool. Mr. Solomon, what do you have for us, sir?
I'll say this, right? Anytime a business has financial troubles, whether they were because the business owner didn't know or, just had the wrong people around them, but it happens, right? It always happens. You just have to try to get yourself a good team around you that understands how to bootstrap things and get it done. So, it's not that she failed because she actually did a really great job. But when we looked at it, I think Walter and them brought me in probably somewhere around September, October, to sit back and say, hey, can we do this? And we looked at it and everything. And I said, well, I think it's possible. And we did some due diligence and got a seat at the table there to be able to make a bid. And we've made a bid, and it looks like, okay, we might have that winning bid. Too early to really say, but it looks like that way based on the conversations that Walter's being asked to do and things that he have to do. So we're excited about that. We're excited about getting the company and help turning it around for our community and actually growing it and seeing where her dream can actually go and the story can actually go. Because as I've been told and Walter's been told recently, lately here, it's a global thing, right? That a lot of people in the United States still don't know, but across the world, there's people who are actually interested as well. So we're really thrilled and we're really just excited to be a part of this whole journey wherever it goes.
Great. So, Mr. Solomon, you have an interesting backstory, sir. Thank you for your service. I watched another interview, found out you were a veteran, and quite the businessman that what I'm saying before I was even thought about. So, if you could give the people some of your background and some of your story, I think we appreciate it.
Okay. Well, at one point, when I got out of the military, I'm gonna do this really fast. I started a maintenance company. I grew it very quickly to over $6 million in sales. Went from there to owning 13 nursing homes, 2 hospitals. Lost all of that. Went from there to being a part of 3 publicly traded companies. The 3 public companies, one was called Revolutionary Concepts, the other was called Universal Bioenergy, and I can't even think of the third one for some reason. But one was a gas company. We had the largest minority gas company in the United States. And then the other that everybody knows is Revolutionary Concept that licenses patented technology to a company called iTalk 365, which I controlled on my trust. Let me rephrase it. My trust controlled it. Okay, let me say this right.
Indeed.
And they went out and licensed it to companies like Ring Doorbell, Skybell, you name a company, almost every single company out there, we license that intellectual property to them. And there's
Great.
not one company that uses that technology that don't have a license from us.
Great. Now, as you guys were saying, what would be the proper term? I want to make sure the spirits, is it spirit or liquor? I don't want to. It's the spirits industry. Well, you know, we like to
either
call it
one.
liquor.
Spirits is
Spirit.
fine.
Right? So don't call it liquor.
Spirits.
All right?
You can call,
These
hey,
ain't.
man, you can call it liquor. You can call it spirits. You can
Okay,
call it
okay, okay.
whiskey.
All right. Liquor or spirits. We gonna call it spirits today. It's professional. All right, we're gonna be professional. The spirits industry, as you gentlemen were saying, the black spirits industry is something that's budding. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of people, it's not a lot of brands. So you gentlemen taking this huge, you know what I mean, step in continuation of this. And like you said, most importantly, keeping the story alive and building up the history and the lore behind it is a very, very important thing and admirable thing. If and when hopefully we're looking at the faces and owners of Uncle Nearest here soon, when it's ever is announced. What are some of the directions that you guys want to continue, and then maybe some of the new things that you guys maybe want to add on that the earlier owners may not have incorporated yet?
You know, one of the things that Walter has been working on is the turnaround plan. So from day one, when he takes over and the company is his, what is he going to do? And some of the things he's allocated, like, okay, we need a budget for barrels to be turned into RTDs, and I'll let him explain more of that. And just a overall plan to penetrate the actual market that had not been penetrated in our communities.
Right. So,
Okay.
so you know, with saying what I can say without giving away the sauce, right? Because ultimately we're still in the process of the acquisition, right?
Yeah, understood.
So yeah, so in the turnaround plan, and we're gonna, like Solomon was saying, we're gonna allocate barrels that we can turn into RTDs. RTDs are popular amongst the Gen Zers now. I think that's what they call it, right? The Gen Zers. That's the
Yeah.
That, you know, they're popular amongst the Gen Zers, right? And you got to think about, you know, myself. You know, I'm my age. You know, we still go into bars and
Oh yeah. That glass, you gotta have that nice glass,
yeah,
baby.
we may drink us a nice Uncle Nearest neat or
Yeah.
or on a big rock. Well, the Gen Zers are not doing that, right? So what we have to do is we have to bring them in to the fold, you know, and try to get something that they would like, you know, and also you have women. While there are a lot of women whiskey drinkers, the majority of your women, our research has shown that women prefer, you know, the clear liquors, you know, things of that nature. Well, we want to bring in different elements to kind of bring the market of women into whiskey by providing, you know, flavors, RTD flavors that would you know, appeal to women. And we want to do this all while preserving the brand and the legacy that Uncle Nearest has already established.
Great. And for people that don't know, RTD is ready to drink. That would be like your canned things to where it's already there. You know, you don't have to go and order from a bar. You get you a nice 6-pack, 12-pack. You know what I'm saying? We would suggest a case of them if a case is available. Get as many as you can. Nice at a cookout, nice at a you know, a kickback, nice at any type of family function to where, you know, hey, everybody's not, you know, trying to, you know, you get their glasses out. You got to worry about cleaning them dishes up after the fact, right? So I think that's a wonderful thing. And you know,
but keep in mind the most important thing along with the RTDs is, and that's why I say we will allocate some barrels of whiskey to the RTDs, is we have to maintain the premium brand of Uncle Nearest, because it is a premium whiskey, right? Because we want to make sure that, you know, we sustain that.
Most definitely. So Uncle Nearest whiskey. Now that's another thing too. Could you give us a quick rundown between the difference between your browns? You know, that's the flavor, the soul. You know, we big on the brown, but you got your whiskey, you got your cognac, you got your bourbon. Am I missing any? And what I think was Scotch. It's Scotch, right? Scotch.
Yes.
Give us what gives whiskey that extra soul. You know what I mean? That extra feel, that extra thing that's more connected to the Uncle Nearest brand and, like you said, the legacy and lore.
Really, the simplify, the whiskeys and the bourbons, the scotches and the Canadian blends and the cognacs. It's where it was distilled. Tennessee has whiskey, Kentucky does bourbon. That's an easy way of breaking it down as opposed to like getting into real meat
Yeah,
and
potatoes. Oh, yeah, okay. Or distillery.
of the differences between what's going on. So with Uncle Near has been from Tennessee. It is a whiskey, and the way it was distilled, the way Nearest Green taught Jack Daniels to distill it was the way that when in Africa, Africans used to purify their water using the cold technique. Well, Nearest Green, who was a slave, he brought this same cold technique into distilling whiskey, which gives it a different flavor than it would your Kentucky bourbons and stuff like that. So it's the way it was distilled.
Okay. All right, cool, great. Um, so if and when is there a timeline about the acquisition, being complete or whatnot, what have you? We looking, by the end of the year, a few years? Do we have a window as to, when?
God, we hope not. We're thinking, according to the receiver and the company that the receiver hired, that's very well known and in the industry. We're hoping that we can do this in 45 days or less.
Oh
Um,
wow.
there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, because they're still fighting back and forth amongst some other things between the owner and the creditor, things like that. She's still challenging things. So, it's kind of up in the air, but, we're confident. Look, we just went out and secured a significant amount of money to be able to pay off the creditors, to be able to turn around and have enough working capital to turn this company around, to invest in the company properly, to actually be able to scale it. And, we just thought it was really important. And the message that we shared with the lenders and everything like that, where we're getting our capital from, they like the message too. And they wanted to help.
Great, great, great. Um, Now I think the people, yeah, man. Hey, this is not a small feat at all. I'm glad you guys gave me the opportunity to interview you, because this is a $1 billion company, right, in itself. Not to mention, the billions of dollars in the industry, right? So once we get this, of course, the branding is going to stay the same. Uncle Nearest, no plans in changing the name or any of these things. Everything's going to look the same. Maybe a couple of different labels or whatnot, but we're going to be on the same Uncle Nearest branding, taste, flavor, all those great things we're used to. Correct?
Well, our hope is that if you walk into your favorite package store, ABC store, liquor store, whatever state you're in, and who is governing the sale of your spirits, you won't notice a change. It'll still be the same Uncle Nearest that you see today, you saw yesterday, you saw last year. It'll still be on the shelves the exact same way.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, cool. Um, so now that we're here for the transition and the acquisition, explain to us and give the people a little bit better understanding what you guys were saying, the importance of black ownership, major business, like you say, things like this. Explain to us what it means to you for black men, especially too. And shout out to you, brothers. Hey, the black, everybody loves to say things about, the black businessman. We only respect and only acknowledge the athletes and the actors, the entertainers, but never the true entrepreneurs and brothers that have worked themselves up longer than I've been on this earth. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Solomon, before I was even thought about, he out here, getting to the bag. You feel me? So explain to us from you guys who are accomplished, who clearly representation of that, the importance of that, and how more of you guys need to be shown and lifted up to show the young black men and the black boys that it can be done, things outside of sports and entertainment.
Well, I'm going to say this. My research shows that less than 2% of the financing that's available to African American, and if you're looking at women, less than 0.5% of that goes to African American women. So that tells you that we're not actually being given the opportunity to have access to capital. So we have to do, my parents used to tell me, and their parents told them, you have to work 10 times harder. And don't sit back complaining or crying about it. Just keep working, right? And sometimes you think about how unfair life is. But at the end of the day, it does build character. And if you keep doing what you need to do, right? Because, yeah, we only get 2% of the capital as a whole. Now, Walter and I just gone out and got $255 million to buy this company, right? So we probably got a little bit more than what typically the average person would get that looked like us, right? But we had to do a lot of due diligence and a lot of work to actually do that. And we had to present. I mean, we talked to a lot of banks. In our journey, one bank told us, hey, this is not even what we do after 4 months. The white man come on the show, and we've been talking to a brother for 4 months, and the white man come out and say, oh, that's not even what we do. And so you experience things like that being African American people, right? We experienced adversity, but we didn't cry about it. We got off the phone and we start dialing and reaching out to our network to see who knows who, because everybody knows somebody. Everybody knows somebody. And we ended up finding the right person that can do it for us, that had quite a bit of wealth, that said, okay, yeah, we'll jump in and help you. Literally that quick. So I share that part of the story in the journey because, like, even when I did the Ring doorbell and everything of that nature, right? Now, we didn't do Ring doorbell. We did the intellectual property. So I talked to 365, and Revo is the one that owned all that technology, and we licensed it. But we started, when I got involved with that company, they didn't have any money. And so we put millions and millions of dollars in there, and we leveraged everything that we had to make that thing go. So you got to be willing to know where you stand, right? We had to turn around. The original owner of that company wanted to invent a camera like the Ring doorbell. And we had to say, no, we can't do that. That's not our space. Our space is the intellectual property. Let's focus on developing out that intellectual property so we can license it to everyone else. And that's what we did. And that was our lane. But we had to pick that lane because that's also where our budget was and what we could access in capital. So I would say to anybody, this is what I would say. Team up with your family and your friends. Create a corporation if you can. Turn around, pull your money together and go buy a business, whether it's a laundromat, car wash, liquor store, a cigar lounge, bar. Go buy a business, because a business, a lot of people like real estate because they see all these shows about flipping, right? Flipping property. Well, real estate in a good market grows at 14%. In a regular market, it grows at 7%. Well, a business can grow in double, triple digits. So isn't that a better investment?
Indeed.
Not only when you think of it, if you're looking at the right business, the business will help you to qualify for the loan. That's better than buying a house where it's totally dependent on you to qualify for the loan. Now, that's just my personal opinion, right? So you can leverage your money a lot faster and grow it. So one of the things I liked about Walter and his previous partner was this. They had a clear vision of what it was that they wanted to accomplish. And once you write it down and you make it plain, you can go after it. So they made it where my marching orders was nice and clear of what I needed to do to help them achieve their goal. And I'm gonna let Walter take it from here.
Man, you want me to follow that?
Oh, brother.
Well, to really, first off, you talk about Solomon mentioned Cigar Lounge. That beautiful cigar lounge he's sitting in right now is Aroma Cigars in Charlotte, North Carolina, 9007 Monroe Road, Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, if any of your subscribers or listeners ever in the Charlotte area, tell them to go by there, grab a Uncle Nearest and a 10 Enemies cigar. 10 Enemies is a cigar of the lounge.
It's smooth.
Go check it out. It's smooth. Go check it out. Understanding everything that Solomon talked about as far as the percentage of funding that black companies get. While all of that is important to me, for me it is more about pride, right? For me, it's more about this is a story that is in the black community, a black man's contribution to the spirits industry, not only in the United States, but the global spirits industry. And we cannot allow this story to be told by someone else, right? No one can tell our story like we can. No one can tell your story like you can. No one can tell Solomon's story like he can. And we can't allow someone who doesn't really and truly feel the pride behind what Nearest Green did be allowed to tell his story.
And how difficult and challenging that was. See,
yes.
Look, I hope I can keep it very real. A white man can't tell what my struggles were or what your struggles are because they haven't had those type of struggles. They may have had the struggles in a different way, right? But they haven't had the struggles we had. Trying to access capital, trying to get things done. So even when you luck up and you get the capital, you still might have to go lease a warehouse. You still got to get past regular. There's so many other things that their gatekeepers try to keep you from. You know, when our people came out of slavery, our communities were thriving. You know, we didn't just have the Black Wall Street or Tulsa and stuff like that. We had those type of communities right across the country because all we could do was business with ourselves. You know, we had black restaurants, black movie theaters, black everything, right? Because we could only patronize in our community. And that made a difference. So when we started looking over the fence, thinking the grass was greener on the other side, which that's what they wanted us to do, we took our dollars out of our own communities and weakened our own community. But we were outpacing them. We were out doing everything in business that they were trying to do. We were more successful and we were prospering more. And that's why, you know, I don't mean to go on this tangent, but that's why they start destroying our communities.
No, it's needed. I'm glad you went on that tangent, Mr. Solomon, because again, not only are you the subject matter expert here, and you're clearly undisputable results, right? We say this all the time. It was the illusion of inclusion to where it was the whole thing was a money play. So like you said, when we didn't have a choice but to deal with ourselves, that's what we did. We dealt with ourselves. We were thriving. The reason why everybody loves to talk about Black Wall Street, as you said, right? But people don't have the history outside of that. You know, it's a generational thing too, but you know, mostly that's just the most popular thing that people come to. But as you stated, right? Being that those things were destroyed because the white people saw they were jealous. It was thriving without them. And you Negroes, you know, low IQ, no money, all these different things. So you're not supposed to be doing better than us. So that's why I was attacked. And to see you brothers again, like yourself, you know, businessmen, accomplished, educated, all these different things are just personification of what was going on way back in those times. And Mr. Solomon, I really connect with what you said, right? Despite of you growing up in a time as to when that was still really a thing. Your mom told you what? Hey, don't complain, fight through it. You are the representation of what I tell all the time. Again, racism will always exist. It's never going to go away. If you focus only on that, right, and you're worried about what they won't let me do and they won't do this and won't do that, you told us about plenty of obstacles, but yet and still you overcame every last one. You feel what I'm saying? And if more of us have the attitude that you gentlemen have, I think we'd be unstoppable. You give some of the best advice when it comes to, again, if your whole family pools together their money and your assets and you buy a business versus us going out here and buying these nice, Cadillac Escalades and the brand new Benz.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? Where would we and could we be? But we need your knowledge and wisdom and experience to say that, because all the kids want to do is listening to whoever the greatest rapper is and look at IG and look at the jewelry, moissanite, but they ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? They don't even understand, the price of precious metals and all these different things, and what true wealth, value, and money is. So hey, rant all you need to rant, good sir. Because again, we need you gentlemen to be the example of what, again, the regular everyday black man that starts out working, not born into anything. Again, it's not because of fame or talent. It's literal hard work, grit, knowledge, know-how, dedication, all those different things. And I think, I know for a fact, you know what I'm saying, if we get on that pathway and the examples that you gentlemen are setting, black men and black people will be unstoppable.
Oh, we are unstoppable. If you look at everything that we have overcome, right? I'm talking about black in America. Because see, when you see a black person, you don't know if they're Jamaican, you don't know if they're Nigerian, you don't really know. All everybody sees is someone black until they open their mouths, right? And that's especially what a white person sees, right? They just see that, and that's how they classify it. But I'm gonna take it a little different, because when you see and meet a black American, and what you got to understand is everything that they had to overcome and persevere and endure through their bloodline to be where we are right now. Everybody coming from all these different countries to piggyback off of what we fought for, what our people fought for, right? We're not sitting back having wars or tribal wars and things like that. We're not sitting back doing a whole lot of complaining. We're actually getting down and doing the work. And then to be criticized and made as if we're ignorant or we don't know, right? Because that's the message they give to the rest of the world, is that, oh, wait, we're lazy. We don't know. All we want to do is be smooth talkers, right? That's their message. Mm-hmm. But our message has been very clear. We're overcomers. We're overachievers. We get it done. And so that's how we're able to move from slavery to where we currently are, to where we could have the first black president, to where we can have congressmen and things of that nature, to where we can own banks and do things. So we're doing it, but you got to look at what we had to overcome. They put out blacks don't like blacks, right? Blacks don't raise their family. All black men do. So everything negative that they can say about a black man, they did. And it's going to take 100 years or so to reverse all that. So if we just turn around, put my cigar down, if we turn around and take every lie that has been told and flip it around, the truth is what they're trying to make themselves look like, it was originally us. See, because we always took care of our families. We always spent time with our families. We always catered and took care of our women. They were the ones that abused their families, abused their women, and things of that nature. So when you look at that, right, we were always working. We were too busy doing what we needed to do to provide for our family. And we're still doing that now. And so black brothers, we got to stick together. When you see a brother doing something, don't be afraid to help him out and get it done. Because when you help them out and get it done and you come with no pride and just put your shoulder to it with him, all of a sudden it gets done and it's like, oh, wow, now we can go do something else. And the faster we pull together, now we're unstoppable because, I think Rosa Parks did it best, right? when she did the boycott, and we all pulled together and stopped the bus line and basically put it in bankruptcy. Right now, today, where we live in society today with social media, if you stop, I won't name any names, but almost any publicly traded company, if you stop patronizing them, what will happen to their stock price?
Crash.
It will crash because we are truly the largest consumers. We are those consumers that make the global economy work, not just the United States of America, but the global economy because of our spending habits. Now, if you did that and that stock price went down, and then you start patronizing it again, but before you start patronizing it, if you bought stock in that company, right, what's going to happen? Now you're the one to control it. We, people who look like us, will control it. That means now you're going to control your law enforcement, your local politicians, because now you're the ones with the wealth. And
Exactly.
that makes all the difference. So Mark, what Mark and Walter wanted to do, Mark's no longer with us. He decided to do something a little different. But what they wanted to do was keep our community black. We all heard the stories. We create patents, right? Somebody steal them from us.
Mm-hmm.
Do this because we didn't have enough money. Someone steals it from us. So he wanted to turn around, especially Walter here, wanted to turn around and help this company, help this black woman, because a lot of people like to say, oh, we don't show up for our sisters, right? Help them to achieve what they're trying to achieve, right? And so this was a way to sit back and say, okay, we're going to help you keep this thing black, right? We're going to go in and we're going to buy this thing and we're going to turn this thing around to keep it black because it deserves to be in our community. So some white guy, and you guys, I hope you don't think I'm prejudiced or racist because I'm not, because I don't have enough money to be racist. But, the thing is, they've always taken stuff from us, right? Whether intentionally or unintentionally, because they had the resources and they had the knowledge. And so because we had a little money and a little access to some stuff, we wanted to make sure we can keep this with our knowledge in our community to benefit our community. So we can say, hey, we got something that's ours, right? That belongs
Indeed.
to us.
Now
So-
they see that the good cigars y'all was talking about. Do y'all ship cigars?
That's what I'm about to tell you. Big boy, he can go to 10 Enemies. I think it's 10enemiescigars.com. And that's where he can get 10 Enemies cigars shipped to him. They can order them online.
Okay, for sure, man. There you go. 10
Also,
enemies.
10 Enemies Instagram, my boy would probably answer that a lot faster. Nas don't play about his business.
Right.
His business.
For sure. All right. So the receivership aspect. Could you, for those of us who've never even had to deal with this, can you give us a quick rundown of the process of that? Because I've never heard of a receivership until this story actually came out. So if you guys give us a quick little business 101 on what a receivership is and what their role is in the process, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Well, in just a real brief, what has happened is a creditor has filed a suit, or a creditor has said, hey, we're not getting paid the way that we're supposed to get paid. And there's certain things that when you borrow money, there are certain things that you have to do that you're obligated to do as far as reporting to your creditors on it just depends. It could be yearly basis, it could be biannually, it could be however you and your creditor work it out, right? And so what has happened is apparently, and I say apparently because I don't work for Uncle Nearest, and nor do I work for the creditor. So I can only go by what's in the news, right? And what's in the news is that Uncle Nearest was not fulfilling its obligations to its creditor. And so this creditor has then petitioned the court to get someone else to run the company until they can get the company either sold or they can get their monies back, or the current company owners can find a way to pay them. However, the creditor is just basically saying, hey, we want our money. And so they
Okay.
put a receiver in charge. And what the receiver does, go ahead, Solomon.
Let me say it a little differently. At the end of the day, when a creditor or the group of creditors take you into what we call involuntary, um, a judge appoints a receiver because he's responsible to ensure that the creditors are made whole. The equity stakeholders, they made a business decision, right? So they figure that they have the ability to stand the loss. So the courts are not worried about that. The receiver's not worried about that. Typically, what brings you into that situation is financial covenants. When you go out in a commercial setting, any business, and you borrow money, there are financial covenants in there that you must follow. And if you don't follow those financial covenants, you are now in breach of the contract. And in some cases, you could even be paying the payments on time and still be in breach of the contract if you're not following all those financial covenants. An example would be if you had agreed to make the business grow by 3% or something every year, and you weren't doing that and it was actually declining. That would be a breach of that financial covenant. So there's a lot of things, as Walter was saying, that can take you and place you in that situation. But typically, it's the financial covenants. The creditor says, hey, I'm at risk of not being paid. So while they have all these assets, Judge, I need to come in and seize it. Otherwise, I'll lose all my money. So that's basically what happened. The receiver comes in as a neutral party, right? Not picking the side for the creditor, not picking the side for the previous owner, as a neutral party, and making sure that he can get the creditor paid in full. The court's responsibility is to ensure that the creditor is made whole. Now, whole could be 10 cents on a dollar or 100%. It's just depending on what the assets are and where they are.
Brother, I think you got us on mute.
Can't hear you.
No, I'm on mute. I'm on mute. My bad. I was on mute. I'm sorry. Yeah. So hopefully next 45 days, again, we're looking at the owners of Uncle Nearest, and look out for the RTDs, the ready to drink. Of course, going into your normal fine package and ABC stores or whatnot, what have you. What do you guys want the public to know outside of what we've already covered, right? Keeping this thing black. I think that's the best part of the interview that both you gentlemen have said. The importance of keeping this black, and now I guess I don't necessarily say encouraging, but being an example for, again, one of the industries that black people don't really don't really reside in, don't really, how do you guys think this could help expand the interest in just, untraveled waters or whatnot for black business owners?
Well, I think what I would hope that this would do when you talk about uncharted waters for black business owners, I hope it would give us the courage just to go out and try things, right? I think it was Michael Jordan that said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, right? So I hope this would encourage, the black community to go out and take your shot. Take your shot. And you might miss the first 15, 20, 30 shots, but just keep shooting. Just keep shooting.
Indeed.
That would be, yes.
I would say this. Everybody follow me for a moment. Dream about being on the beach, right? With your girl. The water is all peaceful. Drinking some Uncle Nearest and thinking about what they have accomplished and overcame. And then inspire yourself. Say, if they can do it, I can do it. And get you one of the best consultants there and go attack it, put a group together. Listen, you can do anything when you have the understanding and the knowledge. And sometimes because we don't have the understanding or the knowledge, at least we think we don't, but like I used to do with the library, right? You guys don't even have to go to the library now. You can Google something.
Yeah.
Have to go to the library, might spend a day trying to find what I was looking for. Man, it's so much easier now because, as one of my brothers tell me, hey, we're in the time of Aquarius, right? Knowledge is plentiful. There's really no excuse. All we got to do is apply the knowledge and the hard work, and you got to get there. If you don't know something, hey, reach out. I'll be more than glad to help. Because, see, what I would like to see 10,000 publicly traded companies that look like us. That changes the world. See, and if everybody understood the power that you actually will right now, you already know you can do anything because we're already doing it. If we stop spending money, the economy here collapsed, the economy across the world collapsed. That's how powerful and how much of an impact we already have. Mm-hmm. So now if we start placing that money in our communities and our businesses, it's over.
Go to the sky. And another thing, real quick, I seen a clip from Steve Harvey the other day, and he basically said, don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, because if you truly want to succeed, you're going to experience times of uncomfort, right? So it's okay to be uncomfortable, but still fight through it. And that's what I would tell people, you know, let's build something, and when it becomes uncomfortable, keep building. Because it's only going to make what you're doing stronger.
Indeed. And you guys, Mr. Solomon, you kept alluding to the spending power that we have. I don't think people understand that we would be, just the Black community alone, United States, a top 20 GDP of a whole nation in the world.
Got it. Yes.
So yeah, I'm a good listener. I'm a good student, right? So I'm glad you kept pointing at that, you know, for us to point that out. And the opportunities we have, like you said, from just a business standpoint, and if we did more investing, if we did more business, we did more working together and pooling, like I said, could really be just unbelievable. But I just think, you know, we're getting to it. A lot of people are getting better. A lot of people are getting more, you know, financially educated, financially, and becoming more economically aware. But again, I think you guys are a strong representation of the possibilities and things that can be done. Before we wrap it up, I see you got that book there, Why Black Wealth Matters in White America. Where could we find that book, Mr. Solomon?
You can jump on Amazon and grab that book. It'll give you some knowledge and everything. But I'm going to tell you listeners real quick, if you don't mind.
No problem.
I don't care where you think you are, whether you have $1,000, $1 million, or no money. Get your trust, number one. Number two, turn around and immediately after you establish your trust, then establish a corporation under the trust. So all the stock of the corporation is owned by the trust, right? You're going to establish another corporation that is going to do business with the public. And it may have subsidiaries, what we call it. Now, your trust is going to loan those other businesses money. And when it loans that money, that's going to help you to pay your fair share in taxes. But it's also going to allow that money to roll right back up to your trust to create long-term wealth for you and your family. In addition to that other company I told you about, right, where the stock is owned by the trust, we call it typically a holding company, you're going to get a life insurance policy, a IUL, that you can overcapitalize in that IUL and then be able to borrow against it. And the interest on it, basically, you will never actually have to pay yourself back, but you should pay yourself back for it to grow faster. Do that. Go out, find a business or something that you like to do. No matter what your dream is, find a business that's in that industry, pull your money together, buy that business, and add your dream to it as a new division. That will help you to have steady income, keep you from messing up your credit, stuff like that. It will allow you to be able to pay your bills, and it'll give you a way to learn the business that you want to be in a lot faster. Don't do like I did. Don't stumble, bumble, and get there. That was hard. Do it the way I just told you. That's me telling you right now. If I was talking to my younger self when I first started, that's what I would be doing.
Hey, a lifetime cheat code for success, and that a lot of the times, Mr. Solomon, that's what a lot of us brothers like. Hey, man, if I just would have had somebody to tell me, where would I be? Well, he done told you. All right, you've been told.
You do.
All you got to do is follow it.
Okay? Now, let me tell you. Also, man, if you want to follow our journey through the process, you can go to fortheculture2026.com. That's fortheculture2026.com. And you can sign up and you can follow us through our journey as we try to get this acquisition closed out. Also, don't forget, if you're in the Charlotte area, Aroma Cigars, 9007 Monroe Road, Charlotte, North Carolina, and go look up 10 Enemies Cigars. You can order them online and they'll get shipped directly to you. I'm my brother Nas down there in Charlotte. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
For sure. Well, gentlemen, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you guys for giving us the information. We'll be on the lookout for the great news, and y'all have a wonderful day.
All right, you do the same.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey man, what's going on? Shout out to y'all for pulling up. I'm gonna read the super chats. I didn't read the super chats during the the interview because we were doing the interview, but I greatly appreciate you guys for pulling up, man. Shout out to my man Prime VA A1 Day 1 BABG alumni in the building. Hey man, Black Power. Shout out to J3 again for the 5. Thank you, Mr. Solomon, for representing the Queen City, Charlotte. How can we support you brothers and keep you up to date on how the buy once it's final? I'm sorry I didn't read this during that time, brother, but like they said, it's the same thing. They got projected new things to add, like the ready to drink. What was the ready to drink and stuff like that? So it'll be the same old Uncle Nearest from a bar standpoint. Your bar lounge, or you going to buy your own personal bottle, but then they plan on adding some some extra things to it to see how it works, more likely than not. Hey man, appreciate you for coming out the clouds, bro. Listen, I got plenty of these interviews, bro. I am who I told you I was. It's not really about me, but as much as they say I hate niggas, it's crazy to me. But nah, man, shout out to both of those brothers. I guess you say the third brother moved on to do something different, but this is huge. I didn't really want to go in. What makes it so crazy is I was going to do this story. Shout out to the brother that contacted me to do this interview concerning the new things that was going on, because now everybody's getting wind of Uncle Nearest and their issues and problems. So, but yeah, man. So I'm glad you guys came in. Hey, shout out to shout out to Hakeem B, man. His brother coming through. He don't do nothing less than club soda around here, man. Whenever he drops some bread. So I greatly appreciate you, brother.
$25,000 alpaca. You block that shit. Right. You don't rubble. Put the club soda on there.
Appreciate you over here giving us a business lesson and Black history lesson all in one show. Hey, man, when the old heads speak, man, they got something good to say, bro. You got to listen to them. So I greatly appreciate those brothers for being that, man. Again, I've never met these gentlemen a day in my life. I never met Mr. Solomon. Mr. Solomon been living long, and I've even thought about, he sound very familiar. That's all I'm going to say. Mr. Solomon, maybe that's who I'm going to be when I get older. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The rest of my facial hair got to gray all the way out. You feel me? But no, man. Again, black men are doing well, man. Could we be doing better? Yes. But what I'm telling you is y'all got to block out all the propaganda and the BS that, NK don't want, bro. You have to. These gentlemen are representations of it. You don't just got to have, a good jump shot or sling rocks on the block. Okay. That's not true. All right. You don't just gotta, be able to sing, dance, or rap real good. Okay. That's not true, man. Those days are over with. The blueprint to do a lot of these things are here. They gave us pretty much a good roadmap. Again, I got to say this. None of this is financial advice. None of this is financial advice. None of this is financial advice. But hypothetical things of that what they would do, you know what I'm saying, in their own personal situations, and I would definitely follow. But yeah, man, I hope you guys gathered something from this of value. I appreciate y'all for pulling up on me. And that's that on that one. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Holla. We out.